Welcome to another edition of the Tea with April. Today, we're so pleased to have with us Congresswoman Sydney Kamlager-Dove, and she's one of our favorites. She's a fan favorite. She's one of our favorites. I'm just gonna say that, and I'm gonna sip my tea while I say that.
Well, I'm a fangirl to you.
Oh, thank you. Ever since we met in Vegas, it's been a mutual admiration society because you're very involved. It's about the people for you, and that's what a lot of politicians fail to realize. Politics is about people, and it's about humanity. And we talked to yesterday. We talked to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and people were saying while we were talking to them in the live stream how they were afraid and how they were scared.
Mm.
And this moment, we are in a very vulnerable moment in this nation. Um, what used to be sure is not. And January 6th was one of those 5 years ago. January 6th was one of those days that really I was in shock and it made me afraid. I was told by Congresswoman Maxine Waters and a very high-ranking Democrat, I cannot say from a former administration, they said, don't you dare go to Washington
Mm.
on January 6th. Everybody else knew. Everybody
Well,
else knew. And then to
people were nervous.
Yeah. So today you are having a hearing. You're going to be part of a hearing. I understand that Benny Thompson from the January 6th Select Committee will be leading it, as well as you in the House Judiciary Committee. Tell me about what the expectation is.
So, this is going to be the fifth year anniversary of January 6th, where we have our current president who was responsible for inciting a riot at the Capitol, and 1,500 cases were prosecuted of folks who had.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. 1,500 cases were prosecuted, and I was told by Secret Service at least 45,000 people were in the area.
Yes,
Only
yes,
1,500 compared to 45,000. That's
yes.
crazy.
And this president pardoned those 1,500 people because he said that the government assaulted them. They didn't assault the government. Meanwhile, we have the government that's continuing to assault the American people with a high cost of health care, with these tariffs going bananas, and with them not even obeying the rule of law. But back to January 6th. So this we are celebrating, commemorating the fifth year anniversary, where Capitol Police,
We're
people
not
got
celebrating. Let's not say so.
no, we're
Yeah,
commemorating. We're
yeah,
commemorating.
yeah.
Um, we are celebrating the heroism, right? That these Capitol Police
Michael
officers,
Fanone,
yes,
Harry
yes,
Dunn, and others.
yes, put their lives on the line to protect the institution, employees, and members of Congress. We are commemorating this day so that we don't forget. And that is so important because we have an administration and a Department of Justice that are actively working to rewrite history. They're actually going in the databases right now and they are erasing all things related to January 6th because they don't want people to remember the truth. What they saw on the television, what some people experienced with their own lives, on the steps of the Capitol and in the Capitol. So, 10 o'clock, Benny Thompson, Congressman Benny Thompson, will be leading this with members of the judiciary, including myself. We're going to be hearing from Capitol police officers and some other witnesses. It will be juicy. I can't really tell who some
Juicy
of the folks are
witnesses?
going to be. It's gonna be very compelling, April. And we are going to be listening to folks tell us how they put their lives on the line, how
Hmm.
they are still traumatized. We are going to record again for folks what really happened. Okay, when you hear people say, this is war, we are at war, we are attacking the government, this is what these folks said. And then we are going to have a conversation about how this government, right now, this administration, is continuing to incite violence. Why is this Department of Justice no longer monitoring white supremacist activities? Why is this administration saying that hate crimes, you know, are not something that we should be watching when we've seen an uptick in hate crimes over the past few years? So this will be a very compelling hearing. And I just want to add one more thing. I love it, right? That these folks are the ones saying, keep up the statues of the Confederates, you know? Just because you don't like the history doesn't mean we shouldn't tell the history, doesn't mean we shouldn't see it. But these are the same people who refuse to put up a plaque in the Capitol honoring the members
The
of the
police
Capitol Police
officers.
Force. That's right.
The
That's
same
right.
police officers that they want to rally behind when it comes to police brutality, but they walk
Yes.
away from them on January 6th.
Yes.
Oh, it is oh
Yes. And
my
April,
my neck is hurting because it's such a polar opposite. I'm like, oh my God.
it's so duplicitous. And he pardoned people. He pardoned someone who molested an 11-year-old child. He pardoned someone who threatened to kill Hakeem Jeffries. These are the people that he has pardoned.
Well, let me say this. I can do you some better.
Mm.
Harry Dunn and I share a lot of our experiences. And he'll probably say this in January 6th. He suffers from trauma, post-traumatic
Yes.
stress disorder.
PTSD.
Yes. And I have been diagnosed with acute and chronic post-traumatic stress disorder because of the threats. I received a bomb, one of those
Mm,
Caesar Sayoc bombs. I've had the FBI and the bomb squad at my house, right?
mm,
And here I am at that time, a mother, a divorced mother with two kids trying to
mm,
do my job. But Harry and I regale one another, just sometimes just how you doing? Because
mm.
there's a commonality. We share something. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, it's wonderful. No, it's not.
No.
And the vast majority of those people who were pardoned got out of trouble, got back into trouble. Okay.
Yes.
And then on
Yes.
top of that, one of those guys, Strucker, I forgot his first name, but Strucker, his last name is Strucker. He met me in Nashville at Politicon. And
Oh,
they had to take me off the stage because
no.
yes, because he was so animated and the
No.
security guard was there. And he was one of those that was charged for January 6th. People kept
Ugh,
saying, "Oh, it's just an intimidation factor." Heck no, it wasn't.
no.
That was
No.
actionable. That day showed me that this is serious. And not only that, that day when I lost my mind watching it because I was warned by Congresswoman Maxine Waters and some other people to stay home because I am a target. And if they get
Mm-hmm.
me, they got something. But I'll never forget seeing
Mm,
this elderly white woman who was part of it. And
mm,
the police officer or the guy in tactical gear was helping her down the steps. I'm like, why didn't he arrest her?
mm,
I'm
mm.
like,
You
what
know
is
why.
well, in either way. So I want to go
You
to
know
this
why.
interview. I know we all know why. I want to go to this interview that Jack Smith had. Jack Smith, the former special counsel for the United States Department of Justice. All right, question. So
Question.
did you develop evidence that President Trump, you know, was responsible for the violence at the Capitol on January 6th? Answer from Jack Smith. So our view of the evidence was that he caused it and that he exploited it and that it was foreseeable to him. Question. But you don't have any evidence that he instructed people to crash the Capitol, do you? That was kind of a leading question.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, but this answer is so common sense, though. You have to go through all, I mean, it's you got to go through all this taxpayer dollars and everything. But listen to this answer. It's so common sense. As I said, this is Jack Smith. As I said, our evidence is that he, in the weeks leading up to January 6th, created a level of distrust. He used that level of distrust to get people to believe fraud claims that weren't true. He made false statements to state legislatures, to his supporters in all sorts of contexts, and was aware in the days leading up to January 6th that his supporters were angry when he invited them and then he directed them to the Capitol. Now, once they were at the Capitol and once the attack on the Capitol happened, he refused to stop it. He insisted, well, he instead issued a tweet that, without question, in my mind, endangered the life of his own vice president. I want to say something there, but I'm gonna come back. And when the violence was going on, he had to be pushed repeatedly by his staff
Mm-hmm.
members to do
Mm-hmm.
anything to quell it. And
Hmm.
then even afterwards, he directed co-conspirators to make calls to members of Congress. So this was Jack Smith. This is just so common sense, it's a common sense approach to it, but we had to spend all these taxpayer dollars to find out that. And I'm going to tell you this. He did put his own vice president in danger. He
Those
did
people said, hang Mike Pence.
that. People, they erected a gallows.
Yes.
And they were
Hang.
trying to get, let me tell you something. People did die from that. But imagine what would have happened if any member of Congress, if Nancy Pelosi, if any member of Congress was killed or hurt. I don't want to get into faith on this,
Mm,
but imagine what could have happened. This was going to be an upset of the US government to keep
hmm
the president, to make him king. We're seeing that now in Venezuela, but hey,
hmm
I digress.
No, that was an attempted coup
Hmm.
of the United States government on January 6th. Okay. Those folks came, they said there's archival audio of them saying, we are at war. These people are not for us. So that means we are going to go against them and overthrow them. It
Not only
is
was
a
it at war,
war.
they had maps. They had maps. They came
Yes,
in with maps and devices to hurt people. And you know that, again, Secret Service told me a lot of those people who could not get into the ellipse for the president's speech, because there were like 45,000 people there, a lot of them had backpacks that had things in it that would not allow them through the metal detectors.
correct.
And then so they walked, instead of getting into the ellipse, they walked from the ellipse on down there and used that stuff to get into the Capitol.
Now, I also want to say that with these 1,500 cases, these people got the best defense possible because so many eyes were watching them and all of these cases. It was due process at its best, just like it's been due process at its best when we have had to prosecute Donald Trump. And if only the justice system would work the way it worked for those 1,500 cases and Donald Trump, if it could work that way for everyone else, that is Black, that is brown, that is an immigrant, that is working class. But this is why it's so important that we have this hearing because folks are not remembering all
Hmm.
of the things that you're saying, right? I mean, tell me this, April, when is it allowable? When is it okay to attack a police officer, to try to maim a police officer, to pepper spray a police officer, to try to crush that person to death? Because that is exactly what happened. And I'm going to tell you something else. If Mike Pence wasn't worried, his ass wouldn't have allowed himself to be shuttled into an undisclosed location to keep himself safe. I'm going to tell you something else. It goes back to why state offices are so important because he was calling governors and he was calling the Secretary of States to these states saying, do not, approve, do not affirm the results of the election from your state. So that's a check and balance that was working. And that's why this man has come in with so much retribution because he got hate on his heart, but he doesn't want the checks and balances to continue to work like they worked against him in 2020. And you brought up Venezuela, not me, but it is the same thing. It is the same
Exact
thing.
same thing. And it's smoke and mirrors. Oh, we're going in for drug interdiction, but we taking the oil.
Right.
And then we running the gut.
Right. And we don't have a plan, but we're going to run the government. And hey, the people who are going to step in better do what I say or else. And you know what? I'm going to look at Nigeria. I'm going to look at Greenland. I'm going to look at Cuba. I'm going to look at Mexico. I want to run the whole Western Hemisphere. I mean, this is what a rogue colonizer sounds like. Someone who is not interested in the rule of law and also not interested in us knowing the history.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. Before New Year's, we had a great conversation with former UN Ambassador Susan Rice. She was
Mm,
domestic policy advisor. She's also national security advisor. She knows everything. Okay.
everything.
Everything, the whole field. Um, and I said, and this is before this Venezuela stuff happened. I said, this reminds me of a third world country. She pushed back on that. See, you're doing like this, but she said it's more like a developing country. We're not a developing
Mm.
country. We were the greatest country. Now we have lowered our ranking to, in her mind, before New Year's, a developing country. I'm now, after this
Mm.
Venezuela thing, I'm like third world. It's very I've been saying
It's like
third
a
world.
banana republic. I
Yeah.
mean, and here's the thing with what we just saw happen with Venezuela, how do we have any credibility when it comes to Putin and Ukraine? How do we have any credibility when it comes to China and Taiwan? Hell, how do we have any credibility when it comes to all of these other countries where there might be bad actors? But democracy is the thing that we should be fighting for, making sure that the citizens of the country have a voice and can vote yes or no. And if they like what they like, that's their country. So then the other thing is, what happens when a whole bunch of countries say, well, we have to go after the United States because they done gone off he's gone
That
off his
part.
rocker. And I mean, hello.
Hakeem Jeffries, I talked to him last night. I asked him about the international community. I asked him about the Hague. I asked him about the UN. He said, and the EU. He
Yeah.
said the European Union is very upset. A lot of countries, Cuba is, people are upset. The only people that are not upset is Venezuela. I get it. But this is upsetting the apple cart.
Well, Venezuelans are excited that Maduro has been removed.
Right.
But like many other, I mean, look at what happened with Noriega. Look at what happened in Iraq. People didn't like the person, the dictator, the leader that was running the country, but they also didn't want chaos to ensue for years and years. And you break it, you buy it. So
Yeah.
now here we are in Venezuela, and what are we going to do? Pack up and say, well, we're done now? But even the oil companies say they don't want to run the country. So what's really going on is this man is using our military to steal other countries' resources so that he can enrich himself, his name, his brand, his pockets. Meanwhile, he's trying to gaslight the American people on things like tariffs, on things like healthcare, on things like the affordability crisis that we're in, and on things like January 6th. And I have to say, there are so many people across the political spectrum that are upset with government, that want to see a different government, one that
Mhm.
is working. But very few of the people that I talk to say it makes sense for us to support a coup and then just go after folks and try to hang them or kill them or maim them in the Capitol. No one supports that because if we do that, then that becomes the precedent that we set for how we solve problems in the future.
Yeah.
And we cannot do that, April. We just cannot.
I agree with you, but I'm concerned. Donald Trump says, hey, there could be other countries we go into, and he's also not ruling out boots on the ground. But he and
Right.
Stephen Miller have acknowledged that they are running Venezuela. And
Without a plan.
Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, said that in that Gang of Eight meeting that was tense, he said they have to talk with Congress before they try to do any military action.
Well, he's right, because Congress is the only branch of government that can authorize war. And so they're trying to call it every other thing but what it is. Now, I will tell you this, April. I will give Donald Trump credit for saying the quiet thing out loud all the time. He says it all
Yes,
the time.
yes.
Okay? He says,
He's
this is
bold enough to
war.
do it. He's
He
bold
says.
enough.
So I'm not mad at him because the medicine ain't kicked in enough for him to
He's
decide to
telling
not
us
tell the
what he's
truth.
gonna do,
Right. So
period.
he said, this is about the oil. This is a war. We're going to do it again. We're going to go to any other place where we don't like. So at least I respect the fact that he is telling us the truth, which makes it very hard for his people to unspin the truth that he is telling us.
Yeah.
But he does have a hypnotic hold because the Republicans, okay, that I sit on judiciary, okay, with these Republicans, and we bring up January 6th all the time. And we actually read tweets from them on the 6th and on the 7th of January where they said, this is terrorism. This was an attempted coup.
They
This
were
is that.
running too. They were running too.
And we have it. We have the receipts, April. And then in the hearing, they want to walk it all back until we push them. And then they say, well, yeah, it was bad, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. So we're going to continue to do that today and other days as I on foreign affairs. I'm going to have to be pressing on Venezuela and Nigeria and Congo and what's up with Cuba and Nigeria, and Greenland, to say, is this how you see our foreign policy? Because we don't have the money to go into all these
No,
countries
we
and try to
don't.
yank their natural resources. We don't. And we cannot fight an entire EU. And we cannot fight a unified hemisphere coming for us.
Well, the EU, I'm wondering when the African Union is going to step in.
We had a meeting 2 weeks ago, right before Christmas, and I met with a number of African leaders, and I told them that. I said, you all, my hope is that the African Union sees its power and steps into it. And if you could work with South and Central Asian countries, if we could revitalize the history of Lumumba, okay,
Mm.
with India, working together against colonizers, against hegemonic countries, to put forth your power, then we might be able to do something. Because the real talk, April, and you know this, Africa is the fastest growing continent. It has the youngest group of folks, on this planet that are
Yes.
there. And it is the richest continent in terms of natural
Mineral
resources.
resources.
That,
Yes.
that's why China is there. And so why not use that power? I told them that, and we got lots of applause. I hope that they take it to heart, because we see how interested Donald Trump is in that continent being distressed and
Yes.
savaged.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Donald Trump did not show up at the G20
No,
in South Africa. He's pulling away from Africa, but he wants to take and not give back.
right.
And that was some of the problem with China for a while. They were promising and just taking and taking, and now they are building infrastructure. They pretty much own a lot of some of these countries.
They do.
And but the bottom line is, um, this president is so hateful in his disdain towards people of color.
Mhm.
And yes, he
That's
has.
why you have the death threats, okay? Because he does not like people of color, but he really despises smart, resilient Black women.
How do the kids do it? What is it? Okay, thank you. LA,
Okay,
LA's touching Baltimore.
okay.
Yes. But yeah, and someone who's not afraid of him, and someone who knows what the First Amendment was about, and the fact, what was that? The Kerner Commission report, where the press was in the back part of it, trying to put us in there. The Kerner Commission report that was put out in 1968, so that we could help quell some of this unrest after all of these policing issues.
Mm,
It's in the back part. If you look, I think it's section 15 or something. Look it
mm,
up. Because after the unrest with in some of these cities with police, they said the black press, black people in the press should be in these high spaces to ask questions to help quell the upset.
mm,
And
mm.
and I'm there, but it's making them angry more so than quelling anything. But it's okay. But
Well, they
here
don't like the
is
clap back. They don't like the clap back. And what you're really doing is you're being transparent. And you, and I think that's what we need, right?
Mhm.
I heard a quote and I love it. They say, you have to pay for the truth now, but the lies are free.
Ooh,
And
I like
we
that one.
have to we have to reverse that, because so many people are thirsty for the truth, but they have been deluded. It's been a deluge of lies and misinformation designed to isolate us. I mean, you started talking about, this larger humanity when you were talking about January 6th. And I believe that one of the reasons why people were coming after you is because Trump tried to turn you into a caricature, tried to turn you into something that wasn't real. And you something that's not real doesn't feel pain. But when
I
you
bleed.
humanize,
Yeah, I
yes,
bleed.
when you, just like Jesse Williams said, just because I'm magic don't mean I'm not real,
Come
you
on now.
know? So we have to continue to breathe humanity into ourselves and our friends so that people see that we are real and stop treating us like caricatures, like characters. And that's where we have fallen short.
So January 6th,
Mm,
hearing on the first day, you're back on January 6th. You're back on
yes.
January 6th, the fifth anniversary, and you're having a hearing started at 10 o'clock. I don't know where it's going to be seen, but I'm going to be watching it from home because I don't trust I don't trust it. I was told 5 years ago to stay, but I'm gonna be reporting, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it on C-SPAN or something, but I'm very
Yes.
intrigued to see and the celebration. I want to see the celebration of the police officers, and I want to see these special celebrity guests that you have. So,
Yeah.
can you give us a hint?
I will tell you that there'll be some amen corners happening. And you will hear people share and you will say thank you and you will say amen.
Hmm. Well, thank you for being so forceful in your service, your power means service. Thank you for that. And once again, guys, tune in. It's the January 6th hearing starting at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And Congresswoman Sydney Kamlager-Dove is going to be there with Benny Thompson and others to put an exclamation point on what happened to keep the record as it is, not changing the narrative that many of these Republicans are trying to do. Congresswoman, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Always, thank you.
All hail, all
Bye,
hail.
Queen.
Thank you for sipping tea with me.
Yes, anytime.